Turn on your TV to watch your sports or your favorite talk show or TV program to be programmed. But you have never thought about your purpose in life. How your wealth cost money will disappear in front of your very eyes. Reflect and prepare for your death, 'cause you don't know when an angel of death is gonna take your soul. Tell me what you're gonna do when it's all gone.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah salawatullahi wassalamuhu alayhi. Amma ba'du fa inna khayra al-kalami kalamullahi wa khayra al-huda huda rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. As the Imam just mentioned, سلم الله من كل سوء ومكروه. Our Nabi al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to encourage his companions radiyallahu anhum ajma'in, and used to instruct and command this community to think about and to consider and to contemplate death just like that. I won't say for no apparent reason, but just like that. Not to wait until someone that you know is about to die, then you start to consider death, but to think about it often. And there was not a day that went by except that in some shape, form, or fashion, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned something about the death. Either a direct hadith, like the one that was just mentioned, when he said, remember the destroyer of the pleasures. They said, what is the destroyer of the pleasures? What is it that destroys the pleasure? He said, it's death. Remember the death. So that's just an hadith that would just come and he would tell them to do that. Before the prayer of al-Islam, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to say a number of things before establishing the salah. He just would not stand in front of the people and say, Allahu Akbar. He just wouldn't do that. He would send Bilal ibn Rabah down the right side, and he would send Umar ibn al-Khattab down the left side, radiyallahu anhuma, and they would make sure that the lines were straight. And before the Prophet started, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, used to say a lot of things. He used to say a lot of things. He just wouldn't get up and just pray, just like that. One of the things that he used to say before the prayers, he would tell the people, Sallu salat muwadda'a. Pray the prayer of a person who's about to die. Pray as if this prayer is your last the farewell prayer. He says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in that hadith, La haridun del mar and yuhsin as-salatuhu. If a person was thinking about this prayer is going to be the last prayer that I'm about to make, it will cause him or her to pay more attention to the prayer. There are many thieves in the dunya, many thieves, like the bankers or thieves. They illegally take the money and they get rewarded for it. Sometimes when they give them severance pays, they give them a lot of money. They're legally stealing from the people, and the taxpayers have to carry the burden. Many thieves in the Muslim country, in the countries of the Muslims, the leaders are stealing, ministers, family members, left, right, and center. But the Prophet said that the biggest thief in this religion, the biggest thief, is not the banker. He told the people, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that the biggest thief is ar-rajul alladhi yasriqu salatahu la yatimmu ruku'aha wa la sujudaha. The biggest thief in our religion is the one who steals from his prayer. He doesn't complete the bowing. He doesn't complete the prostration. He or she is not concentrating. The important thing is just to get finished and through the prayer. So the point is, in the prayer 5 times a day, the Nabi would remind the people, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, try to pray the prayer of a person who's going to check out. It's going to be your last prayer. And if someone was in that position, like when someone is going to be executed, if they say, okay, you can get your last meal and you can pray your last prayer, he's not going to enjoy the meal because his stomach won't be able to consume the meal. He's just too nervous. But that prayer, he's going to pray that prayer in a special way. So that was one of the ways that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam practically used to remember death every single day. In addition to that, the Book of Allah Azza wa Jalla has mentioned so many issues that we need to know in the Islamic narrative about death, so that we can be people who are not like the Jews and the Christians, Sikhs, Hindus, people who don't know what they're doing. The Kuffar of Quraysh. Ikhwan, the Kuffar of Quraysh, Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl, they used to worship Allah. And they used to worship Allah in the best place, in Mecca, at the Kaaba. They used to make tawaf, and they used to go between Safa and Marwa. Allah mentioned many ayat about their ibadat. قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ. I don't worship what you worship. That ayat shows they were worshiping. But I don't worship what you worship. What you're worshiping, the Prophet told them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in that ayat. We say the same thing. But if the Muslim doesn't know about his religion, and his religion is just what his forefathers told him, because that's how some people are. The religion is just what their forefathers said. They don't like you just because you don't say what their forefathers said, and that's sad. Especially in the society that we're living in today. A place like Aberdeen, for example, the UK, people are educated. People have degrees. They graduated from institutions of higher learning. But when you meet the individual, I'm sorry to say it, I'm sad to say, people will think things about you that are not even true. If you were to say to them, like Allah told us to say to the Ahlul Kitab, Jews and the Christians, Hatu burhanakum in kuntum sadiqin. Jesus is the Son of Allah. You people are the chosen people of Allah. You people are not going to go to the hellfire. Where's the proof of that? It's just kalam. It's not something that they believe. But the point is, Quraysh used to worship Allah. Allah said about their salat, وَمَا كَانَ صَلَاتُهُمْ عِنْدَ الْبَيْتِ إِلَّا مُكَاءٍ وَتَصْدِيًا. Their prayer at the Kaaba was nothing but clapping hands and whistling. They were not worshiping. They were just whistling, clapping hands, having a party. Sometimes the non-Muslims of Quraysh showing their sincerity to Allah. The man would say, I drink khamr in these clothes. I murdered someone in these clothes. I took a man and made him captive, and he was a free man. I did it in these clothes. He would take his clothes off. She would take her clothes off, and they would go around the Kaaba naked, in sincerity, making tawbah to Allah. With sincerity, nakedness. Allah said about their worship, in many ayat, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَعْبُدُ اللَّهِ عَلَى حَرْفٍ. There are those people who worship Allah, and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. So the point here is, when it comes to the issue of death, when it comes to the issue of salah, when it comes to the issue of fasting, when it comes to the issue of al-hajj, when it comes to the issue of al-hijab, when it comes to the issue of how to be good neighbors, good relatives, our religion explained all of that stuff. Everything. Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَمَا فَرَّطْنَا فِي الْكِتَابِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. We didn't leave anything out of this book. We didn't leave anything out of this book. وَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابِ تِبْيَانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. We revealed this book to you, Ya Muhammad, and it makes everything clear. Everything clear. So when it comes to the issue of death, there is an Islamic narrative, the Quran and the Sunnah, far away from khurafat, far away from shirk, far away from innovation, far away from, that's what my father taught me and that's how I think it should be. Our religion is based upon proofs. We love for Allah and we hate for Allah. I can sit here and I can find a million reasons to hate many people here. Because you're not my color, because you don't come from where I come from, your food is different from my food, your language, your mother tongue is different from my mother tongue, and the question is, until when Muslims are going to be like that? Our religion teaches us everything. When we read the newspaper, as Muslims, we read the newspaper. In our religion teaches us how to read the newspaper. how to form opinions about things and issues and people. But when we get far away from this religion, from the Quran and the Sunnah, we can scream on this microphone, on the bullhorn, Al-Islam, Al-Islam, Al-Khilaf, Al-Khilaf, Al-Haq, Al-Haq. We can do that. But practically speaking, when we look at how we're understanding and applying, so the call here is, when we talk about this issue of death, I'm talking about the Islamic narrative, the Quran and the Sunnah. And there's a lot to mention, a lot. From what shows the importance of the issue, many ayat of the Quran we're going to come to, inshaAllah, because no one is promised that we're going to get through this lesson. What shows the importance of the many instructions that the Nabi gave, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we're going to come through that, inshaAllah. And also, just what the scholars of Islam have put for us in the way of the books. Unfortunately, some people believe that when you do not agree with a particular position of a particular scholar, like a scholar of the past, the greatest ulama are the scholars of the companions, and then the scholars of the next generation, and then the next generation. And then as we get closer to this time, knowledge and scholastic aptitude becomes less. Everybody here has the right to disagree with any scholar in Al-Islam. Let me tell you something. If you can imagine, the Quran was with me right here. If you can imagine, the Quran is with me. Just imagine, the Quran is with me right now. And it's Maghrib time. If we turn those lights off right now, we're going to be in pitch blackness. We won't be able to see the Quran. We won't be able to read the Quran. But if we turn the light on, we'll be able to pick that Quran up and we'll be able to read the ayat of the Quran. The scholars are like the light that comes on and off that help us to read the Quran. The scholars are not the Quran. They're not the goal and the objective. You younger people especially. The scholars are not the goal and the objective. The scholars, the goal and the objective to the Jews and the Christians. They took their priests and their monks as lords along with Allah. So the Pope, when he was chosen as the Pope, one of the reasons why the Muslim is not happy about that process is because, not Manchester United and with Liverpool, not that, but there's another human being who's on the face of the earth who's going to be worshipped along with Allah. Isa is better than any scholar, any Pope, and he doesn't deserve to be worshipped. وَإِذْ قَالَ اللَّهُ يَا عِيسَى أَأَنْتَ قُلْتَ لِلنَّاسِ اتَّخِذُونِي وَأُمِّيَ إِلَٰهَيْنِ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ قَالَ سُبْحَانَكَ مَا يَكُنُ لِي أَنْ أَقُولَ مَا لَيْسَ لِي بِحَقٍّ. Remember when Allah said to Isa, Yawm al-Qiyamah, did you tell the people to take you and your mother as two gods along with Allah? Isa said, glory unto you. I never said that. I never said anything that I had no authority to say. It wasn't my right. So the Pope is worshipped along with Allah. In the Islamic narrative, the scholar is like the light. Sometimes the light comes on, sometimes it flickers out, it dies. Sometimes the light is old and it's going on and off. He's not always right. The light is not always correct. Most of the time, many of the times, it's correct. So when we don't agree with a scholar, anyone here has that right. I'm not saying you're a mujtahid, you're a scholar, you can just throw the ulama out. I'm not saying that. It's too extreme. One extreme is the person who says, I have to do everything that scholar said no matter what because he knows more than me, better than me. And the other extreme is the new Muslim. He can't read Surah Al-Fatiha correctly. If the noon as sakin fell on his head, he doesn't know that's noon sakin. And he comes and says, I can figure it out myself. La, two extremes. So we're talking here, Ikhwani, as we try to do all the time. Proofs. What you say, what you believe, let there be proofs. Where if someone sat you down and said, where does that come from? You won't be like the man who in his grave, when the two angels, Munkar and Nakir, comes to each and every individual. The mu'min who knew his deen, who's your Lord? He'll say without any hesitation, Allah, Rabbi Allah. What is your religion? My religion is Al-Islam. What did you say about that man who came? He's going to say he is Abdullah and Rasulullah. With clarity, he knows religion. But the munafiq, the hypocrite or the kafir, who's your Lord? He says, la adri, I don't know. What's your religion? Ha la adri. What do you have to say about that man who came? I heard the people saying something, so I said it like them. My mother said it, my father said it, my environment, that's what they said, so I said it, but I really don't know. Those two angels were saying this is the point. Ma talita wa ma darit. You didn't read, so you didn't know. You didn't learn your religion, so you didn't know the answers. So for the new Muslim, the revert Muslim, take the culture of the Muslims, the way we ate some Palestinian food by the way of the Khalij. They eat the bread like this, bamia with that, no problem. Eat with my fingers, no problem. But when it comes to this religion, let what you believe be based upon proofs. When you take positions against people, for people, let it be based on proof, not based upon Peter or Khan. He said, she said. Because Yom Al-Qiyamah, when you die, you're going to be responsible for all of that. Al-Maut. First thing that we want to mention, Khwani, about this issue of death, and I have to mention this because as a revert Muslim, I met some people who didn't believe in what I'm about to say, and where I'm living at right now, there are a lot of people who have a problem with what I'm about to tell you right now. First thing at the top of the list, out of all the things we can mention about death in the Islamic narrative, Quran and the Sunnah, is everyone is going to die except Allah. You see my little brother with the glasses right there? He's one of the smallest students of mine in Aberdeen. That little brother right there with the glasses, and his brother to his right. You want them to grow up knowing everything is going to perish and die. Every nafs except Allah. Allah is the only one who doesn't die without any exception, Ummat al-Islam. You may sit there and say that's basic and fundamental. Question is it really? Have you been mixing with the Muslims? Only Allah doesn't die. That's what the Quran says. That's what the authentic Sunnah of the Nabi said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That was the ijma of his companions. Without any niza', without any ikhtilaf, without any shak. Only Allah doesn't die. Allah Ta'ala mentioned, وَكُلُّ مَنْ عَلَيْهَا فَانٍ وَيَبْقَى وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. Everything on the face of the earth is going to perish. And the only thing that will remain is the countenance of the face of your Lord. Allah Ta'ala mentioned, كُلُّ هَالِكَ إِلَّا وَجْهُهُ. Everything will be destroyed. Everything. Without any exception, you young Muslims. Without any exception. Is going to be destroyed. Allah mentioned. Allah said in the Quran, تَوَكَّلْ عَلَى الْحَيِّ الَّذِي لَا يَمُوتُ وَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِهِ. Rely on Al-Hayy, the living one, who doesn't die, and glorify him. Ayat upon ayat upon ayat. The Nabi had a dua, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it's pretty long. He used to say, Allahumma laka aslamta wa bika amant, ila an qal, wa anta al-hayy alladhi la yamut, wal jinnu wal ins yamutun. Oh Allah, I submit my soul to you alone, and I believe in you alone. And then he said some other things, and he said, you are al-hayy, you are the living, the one who doesn't die. And the jinn and the mankind will die. Listen now, there is something in our religion called al-ijma'. This is something we should know. It's a basic issue, al-ijma'. How do we know that khamr, sharab is haram? How do we know that gambling is haram? How do we know that milk is halal? How do we know halal or haram? First we know it's mentioned in the Quran. It's mentioned in the hadith. It's mentioned in the ijma' of the companions. All of the companions said this particular thing. The Nabi said in the authentic hadith sallallahu alaihi wasallam about this ummah, len, for you Arab speaking people. Not la and not lam. Len ila al-abid. Len tajtami'a ummati ala dalala. He said it is not possible, it is impossible for my ummah to agree on something that's wrong. You'll find some Muslims saying homosexuality is okay. For one reason or another. Some Muslims may say that. But every Muslim is not going to say that. And in this room, You won't find one person, inshallah. You'll find some Muslims saying marijuana. I know some guy, he was a Rastafarian, he came to Islam, a revert, Jamaican brother. This doesn't paint all Jamaicans in the bad picture. He came and he said, the weed is from the land, it's natural, and so you can smoke it. If he was here, he would be the only one who says that. So the Nabi said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this ummah will never come and say Zamzam water is haram. No way in the world. It's impossible. Al-ijma'. The biggest and strongest ijma' is when the companions had ijma'. When the companions, it is haram for you to go against the ijma'. And I tell you right here, wallahi, thumma billahi, thumma tallahi, one of the ijma' that the companions had was that all of the companions were the best human beings after the prophets and the messengers. All of the companions were of the opinion that Aisha was in the Jannah, Jannatul Firdaus, and the most beloved person to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All of the companions consider Abu Bakr, and then Umar, and then Uthman. Someone comes now and says, no, he's going against the ijma' of the companions. Anyway, the point, when the Prophet died, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he died, the news reached the best of his ummah, Abu Bakr. The news reached him. He hurried and he came into the house of his daughter Aisha where the Prophet died. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He saw the dead, lifeless body of al-Mustafa al-Mujtaba al-Mukhtar. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He went down and he kissed him on his forehead and he smelled him. He said, you smell and taste as sweet in death as you did in life. He went out to the masjid to find Umar radiallahu anhu, threatening the people, telling the people, if anybody says that Muhammad died, you're a munafiq and I'm going to kill you. So that goes to show today, if someone said that the Nabi didn't die, he never died, we don't make takfir of him. We don't excommunicate him and kick him out of Islam just like that. He has a shubha for one reason or another. Umar said the same thing. Umar said the same thing. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said, Umar, sit down, take it easy. He wasn't having it. He's defending the sunnah in his mind. He's defending the honor of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his mind. Who are the munafiqs who would dare say that he died? He went to meet Allah the same way Musa went to meet Allah when he went on the mountain for 40 days. Who will speak against that? Abu Bakr saw he wasn't listening, so he got on the minbar. Look at the hikmah of Abu Bakr. The minbar of the Nabi is similar to this, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It had 3 stairs. He used to get on the top stairs so that everyone can see him, even the women all the way in the back, because they were allowed to come to the masjid. And they had a door called Babu Nisa that they used to come in. He got, Abu Bakr came, he got on the 2nd step, not on the 3rd, in respect of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the people saw him step on the 2nd step, they were like, whoa, no one ever stepped on that minbar, ever, during the life of the Nabi. No other khatib. So they knew something was up. Abu Bakr, when the people looked at him, he said, Ya ayyuhan nas, man kana ya'budu Muhammadan, fa inna Muhammad qad mat. Wa man kana ya'budu Allah, fa inna Allah hayyun la yamut. Hey you people, any of you who used to worship Muhammad, Muhammad is dead. He has died. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And anyone who worships Allah, Allah is al-hayy. He's living and he doesn't die. And then he read an ayat of the Quran. وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ الرُّسُلُ أَفَإِنْ مَاتَ وَقُتِلَ انقَلَبْتُمْ عَلَى أَعْقَابِكُمْ وَمَنْ يَنْقَلَبْ عَلَى عَقِبَيْهِ فَلَنْ يَضُرَّ اللَّهَ شَيْئًا وَسَيَجْزِي اللَّهُ الشَّاكِرِينَ. Muhammad is just a man. Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, like the messengers who went before. If he dies or if he is killed, are you people going to turn back and leave your religion? Anyone who apostates and turns back on his heel, you won't hurt Allah one bit, and Allah will reward the shakirin who remain steadfast because of their iman in Allah. Umar radiallahu anhu said, when I heard that ayat, my legs started to shake. They couldn't hold me anymore. He memorized that ayat before, but in the time of catastrophe, the musibah, you forget things. He said, my legs started to shake, and I just fell down to the ground. But he didn't stay standing up, going against the ayat. I said he didn't die. He didn't do that. When the dalil came, he just submitted. So they said that he was waqaf. When the proof came to him, he submitted. So how we have these proofs, and then the person says, no, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is Hazir Nazir. He didn't die. He's with us. Hazir Nazir means omnipresent. When I became a Muslim, I met different Muslims. I met some Muslims from Africa. They were giving me a lot of stuff. I met some Muslims from Palestine. May Allah give us Palestine back and bless the Palestinians and the Africans. I said, well, it's a problem here. I met some Asian Muslims. I said, well, it's a problem here. One of the messages, they told me it was a green chair over here on the minbar, a white chair over here. I said, what are these chairs for? They said, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam for the Jummah, he comes, he sits in the green chair. He's Hazir Nazir. I said, is that just here in this masjid? They said, everywhere, Hazir Nazir. He said, he's in Peking, China, he's in Harlem, New York, he's in Mirpur. They said, everywhere. So when the Islamic narrative, first thing about death, Muslims, and our aqidah, our women, our children, the only one who doesn't die is Allah Azza wa Jalla. You're Abdul Hayy, the slave of the one who doesn't die. As for the human beings, all of them are going to die. Allah mentioned in the Quran, and I'm going to move to the second point, but I wanted to press this point. Press this point so we don't have this khurafat in our heads. We're going against the Kitab and the Sunnah and the basics of our religion. Allah mentioned in the Quran, أَيْنَمَا تَكُونُوا يُدْرِكْكُمُ الْمَوْتِ وَلَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُرُوجٍ مُشَيَّدَةٍ. Wherever you are, death is going to hit you. It's going to catch you. Wherever you are. Even if you go high up into the lofty towers, you go up into the World Trade Center or the Empire State Building trying to run from the angel of death, he's going to get you up there. قُلْ إِنَّ الْمَوْتَ الَّذِي تَفِرُّونَ مِنْهُ فَإِنَّهُ مُلَاقِيكُمْ. Tell them, Ya Muhammad, the death that you people are trying to run from is going to come. It's going to get you. كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Every soul will taste death without any exception. وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا. There's not a single one from amongst you except that he's going to go over it. What does it mean to go over it? This shows the importance of the companions. Not just some idea of the companions, nice men, nice story. If it wasn't for Allah, and then the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and those companions, we wouldn't be Muslims today. We wouldn't know how to make Salat al-Maghrib. The Quran didn't teach us how to make Maghrib. Those companions narrated that to us. This ayah says, there's not a single one from amongst you except that he's going to go over it. That's the literal translation. What does it mean? Abdullah ibn Abbas said, may Allah be pleased with him, the meaning of the ayah is, every single human being, without any exception, is going to go and pass over the Sirat. Yawm al-Qiyamah. You die, Yawm al-Qiyamah, people are going to pass over the Sirat, over the bridge, and the fire is going to be down there. Some people will go by very quickly, and some people will go like the way the lightning go. Other ones will go according to the good deeds or the bad deeds. So that ayat and the explanation of it, it goes to prove what? Everybody is going to die. Everybody. The only person who has lived for a long time so far is Isa ibn Maryam. Allah raised him up and he didn't die. But he's going to come back and he's going to die, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now, we go on to the next point, inshallah, in the Islamic narrative. If everyone is going to die, ikhwani, if everyone is going to die, there are 2 points I want to bring to your attention as Muslims. Everybody is going to die. The first point is, if we know as Muslims everyone is going to die, it's in your best interest, in my best interest. My wife is in her best interest. It's in my child's best interest. Don't connect yourself to an individual beyond what is acceptable. Because if and when they die, you may do something because of that death. You may kill yourself, like the ayah said. If Muhammad dies, or if he is killed, would you leave your religion? Some people are like that. The girl, she became a revert. She became a Muslim. When the husband died, her Islam died along with the husband. When the divorce took place, the hijab left with the divorce. The Nabi said that Jibril came to him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and Jibril told him, Ya Muhammad, ish, ma shit, فَإِنَّكَ مَيِّتْ وَأَحْبِبْ مَنْ شِئْتَ فَإِنَّكَ مُفَارِقُهُ وَاصْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ فإنك مجزي به. Ya Muhammad, live how you want to live as you want to live, because you're going to die. Ya Muhammad, love anyone you want to love. Aisha, Fatima, Ibrahim, Salama, Abu Bakr, Umar, Bilal. Love anyone you want to love, because the day is going to come you're going to separate yourself from that person. No one is going to stay with someone else forever. Your mother is going to leave you and you're going to leave her. Your father is going to leave you and you're going to leave. Your mother and your father are going to leave you and you're going to leave them. So if your religion, if your behavior is predicated upon the existence of the husband, the wife, the son, the daughter, or the sheikh. The sheikh said, don't go overboard. Now in this room right now, and in the room where the women are, this phenomenon of someone dying that we were close to, our parent, mother, father. I had a son who died, 14 years old. Tomorrow was going to be the day he was born. And we don't have that birthday in Islam, but tomorrow was the day he was going to be born. He died, 14. People in this room right now, you know how it is to lose someone close to you. Some people are still reeling, suffering, feeling the difficulty of that. Our religion told us, be balanced. Khwani, wallahi, this is a talk unto itself. أحبب حبيبك هونا ما عسى أن يكون بغيضك يوما ما وأبغض بغيضك هونا ما عسى أن يكون حبيبك هونا ما. The Nabi told the people, love your Habib. Anyone, love your Habib, your wife, your husband. Love the person you love moderately. The day may come when they become your enemy. Hate your enemy moderately. The day may come when he becomes your Habib. If you love someone too much, he can do things that you will overlook, and you shouldn't be overlooking them. And if you hate a person too much, the haq may be with him. But because you hate him so much, you're blinded by that. How many people hated the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Jahiliyyah? Amr ibn al-As, one of the tremendous companions of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, used to hate him. And then when he became a Muslim, he loved him. When the Prophet died, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Amr ibn al-As told the Tabi'een, the students of the companions, they didn't meet the Nabi. He said to the Tabi'een, listen, I used to hate the Nabi in Jahiliyyah so much. To see his face, I hated him. He said, when I accepted Islam, I loved him so much that I wouldn't look at his face. And if you would ask me to describe what he looks like, I wouldn't be able to tell you, because he had a haiba. He would look down at the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the point is, love the person who you love moderately, but don't be a person who says, my existence, the good of me, what I have to offer is going to be determined by the presence of this one or that one. That's one of the important lessons of death. When Ibrahim, the son of the Nabi, died, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Usama bin Zayd, his father Zayd was like the son of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like the son. So Usama bin Zayd is like the big brother of Ibrahim, like something like that. When Ibrahim died, Usama ibn Zayd started screaming, making siyaha. Oh! He was screaming. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Hada bari'un minni." He's free from me. What he's doing is free. He said, free from this behavior, screaming and going crazy at the death. Where we come from, ikhwani, don't you know? The Nabi told the people sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Thalatha min umur al-jahiliyyati lan tatrukuha ummati abada." النياحة على الميت والطعن في الأنساب والفخر بالآباء. 3 things from the people of Jahiliyyah, the times of Jahiliyyah. My ummah will do this forever. They won't leave it alone. Number 1, if someone dies, they go crazy. Especially the women. In some cultures, you'll find one woman, the mother and the daughter, the woman and the sister. They stand there slapping each other in the face back and forth. And that's the etiquette of proving that they are sad at the death. The one who is dead, the Prophet said, will be punished. إِنَّ الْمَيِّتِ لَيُعَذَّبْ بِبُكَاءِ الْحَيِّ. the dead person will be punished because of the screaming of the living. Pay attention, Ikhwani. I want you to understand this hadith. Because we don't want the Christian to come to you and to say, you Muslims say that Jesus didn't die on the cross for us because of the ayat, La taziru waziratun wizra ukhra. No one will be held accountable for someone else. No one can carry someone else's cross. You have to die for yourself and live for yourself. But there is a hadith that said the dead person will be punished because of the wailing of the living. What does the dead person have to do with that? I don't have anything to do with what they're doing. I'm dead. Where's the justice of that? The meaning of that is, how is the dead person punished? The meaning of it is, number one, if the dead person didn't teach the people who are living how to behave when he dies, he's going to be responsible for not teaching them, because he was directly responsible for their behavior. So the father has to teach his daughter, his son, his wife, has to teach them the religion. Don't cry, don't wail for me. You can cry, but don't go crazy jumping in the grave. Jumped in the grave. Second meaning of it, in Jahiliyyah, before Islam. The Kuffar of Quraysh, they would tell the family, hey listen, I'm about to die, as you can see. I want you people to make a big scene so that the community can know how much you loved me. Just scream and go crazy. So the Prophet told the people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in Islam, if you carry on in the way of Jahiliyyah, you're going to be punished to death for that wasiyah. Which goes to show, Ikhwani, in our culture, we shouldn't care that much to a certain degree about what the community thinks. If you get your son married to that one, what are the people going to think? If you did this, what are the people going to think? There's a level of that in Islam. We have to be aware of what people are going to think, but not to the degree where it is, where we do oppression, like it is in our culture many times. So concerning the death, that's the first point that we wanted to mention. Only Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't die, the Nabi, he died, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Second point about that, the Nabi dying, I do understand, like Umar radiallahu anhu, Umar, he said that people who said that the Prophet died, he wasn't easy with that, because it was a shubha in his mind at that particular time. And if it can happen to Umar, it can happen to anybody. So some people, they say that the Nabi didn't die, because there are some ayat of the Quran that they understand. Like the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتًا بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ يُرْزَقُونَ. Don't think that the people who were killed defending al-Islam, don't think that they're dead. They are alive and they're being provided for by Allah. Whether he was a companion or whether he was right now. I just finished the introduction. على كل إن شاء الله نختصر الكلام. النبي صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم himself said that الأنبياء في قبورهم يصلون. The prophets are in their graves and they are praying in their graves. The people who shuhada, they're in their graves alive. They're not dead. They're in the bodies of birds that are flying around in Al-Jannah. We believe that. Allah's Nabi, every time you say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, inna lillahi malaikata sayyahin. Allah has angels who are flying around. Their job and their purpose is, whenever you say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they take that salam and go to him and give him your salams, especially on Friday. So, what we're going to do with those ayats and these ahadith, we're going to say Ummat al-Islam, now. We have two sets of issues here. Some ayats saying he died, everybody is dead. This one saying no. The way we understand that is, everybody is going to die. And the Prophet is from those who died. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But before Yawmul Qiyamah, there is the life in the barzakh. So it's as simple as that. Abu Lahab is alive in his grave being punished right now. Abu Jahl is alive in his grave being punished. My forefathers who died on other than Islam, alive in their graves. So the Nabi is alive in that way, along with the other people. Not that way, not like Abu Jahl. Because the believer, his grave is a Rawda from the Riyadh of Al-Jannah. It's a Rawda from the Riyadh of Al-Jannah. We go to the next point, inshallah. We have to cut down a lot of this, what we wanted to mention. I think this is the second most important point, and that is elementary and fundamental, but we need this reminder. Death, al-maut, death is the property of Allah. It's in the hands of Allah. Death is not in the hands of any president, no matter how powerful he may be. It's not in the hands of any army. Now, you people, you're exposed to the internet. Go to YouTube and just write into YouTube near-death experiences. And just look at the first YouTube clip that comes up about the car that went through the red light, and the other car was a van and many people carry him. And he went through the red light, another car came and hit him, and a pedestrian was walking across the street, and the van rolled over the man. It's on the video. It's not some game that they play with the camera. The car rolled over and appeared to crush the man. But it just happened, the car just went over him. The space between him and the car was enough where it went over him. So what's the point of that? What's the point of that? The point of that is, if the Muslim is connected to Allah and he knows that Allah gives life and death, he's not afraid of other people. He's not afraid to stand on his position when he's going to be against other people and him against them. The Nabi was traveling with his little cousin Abdullah ibn Abbas. And many people think Ibn Abbas was some big man because of all of his knowledge. Ibn Abbas, when the Nabi died, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, was 16 years old. He was a young man. The Nabi told him, Ya young man, Ya ghulam, inni u'allimuka kalimat. I'm going to teach you some words. Remember Allah, Allah remember you. Remember Allah, you'll find Allah in front of you. And he went on to tell him a number of things. إِذَا سَأَلْتَ فَاسْأَلِ اللَّهِ وَإِذَا اسْتَعَنْتَ فَاسْتَعِنْ بِاللَّهِ. If you want a question, ask Allah. If you need help and assistance, ask Allah first. He said you have to know, if all of the people came together to harm you, they couldn't harm you with something that Allah didn't write against you. And if they came together to benefit you, they wouldn't be able to benefit you if Allah didn't want that for you. He taught his kid Aqidah from the very first, from the formidable years. So the kid goes to school, and he's in school with non-Muslims and Muslims. And they tell him, it's cool, get high. It's cool to lose your virginity. It's cool, it's okay, smoke cigarettes. It's okay, do this. If he knows his religion, he knows his religion. He knows who Allah is, what he does, what he doesn't do, where he is, where he isn't. The kid on his own is not, the Muslim kid is not affected by that peer pressure to that degree. Because he was taught as Aqidah. There are those people who actually believe that things can hurt and things can help other than Allah Azza wa Jal, and that's not the case. And there are just too many ayat from that. وَإِن يَمْسَسْكُ اللَّهُ بِدُرٍ فَلَا كَاشِفَ لَهُ إِلَّا هُ وَإِن يُرِدْكَ بِخَيْرٍ فَلَا رَادَّ لِفَضْلِهِ يُصِيبُ بِهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ. If Allah wants to hit you with some evil, with some harm, no one can take it off except Allah. No one. And if Allah wanted to bring you some good, no one will be able to push that away except Allah. He gives us good to whoever He wants to give from His slaves and His servants. Allah is the giver of life and death. So the girl who is with a tyrannical husband, she can't think I have to stay in the relationship because what am I going to do? Allah is a Razak, Dhul Quwwatil Mateen. So for the reason being short, a lot of things that we can mention, we'll come to this next issue. And it's also an important issue about the fiqh of death. Extremely important, and that is, in our religion, it's not permissible for anyone to want to die. It's not permissible for anyone to want to die. The Nabi told the people, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, خَيْرُكُم مِّن طَالَ عُمْرُهُ وَحَسُنَ عَمَلُهُ. The best of you is the one who lives a long time and he has good deeds. So someone here, he has some white in his beard. One of the reasons why the people who are older than us should be respected is that the man has fasted 30 Ramadans before you were created. He fasted 60 Ramadans. And one of the things that has happened to this ummah is we lost the respect of the elders, but that's an issue all unto itself. Man shaba shaybatin fil Islam kanat lahu nurin yawm al-qiyamah. Anyone who white comes out of his or her hair, they become white, it's going to be a nur for them, yawm al-qiyamah. So the best of you, you should want to live a long time. The Nabi, he told the people, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, la yatamannanna ahadakum al-maut. No one should wish for death. Pay attention. No one should wish for death. No one. So that's a nas, a text saying don't want to die. Person is depressed, they say I want to die. Someone who they love dies, they say I want to die. Or we have someone who's a bit unreasonable, like in London, some parts of the Muslim world, Boko Haram, and some of these people, Muslims, who want to blow people up and kill themselves. That's astray. Shabab of Somalia, that's astray. No one should want to go and kill himself. Now if something happens that's really, really, really bad, and a person just can't handle it, he has to know, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah doesn't burden anyone beyond his scope. But something can happen to someone that may be very difficult to handle. Maryam, she went and she was impregnated. Allah blew into her the spirit, Isa ibn Maryam. And she said, Ya laytani mittu qabla hada. I wish I was dead before this happened. I have to go now to my people with a baby. I'm not married. They're going to say that I committed zina. I don't want that to happen. So she wished for death. So how do we harmonize? The Nabi said, don't wish for death. And this one, she said, I wish I had died. There was an incident a few years ago in Iraq on the day of Al-Eid. 5 Marine soldiers raped a 16-year-old virgin Iraqi Muslima. I don't know, and I don't want to know how that father felt. The uncles. You know this thing, honor killings. The honor killings that we're doing, that we hear about, it's not from our religion. Not from our religion. It's fawda, this confusion. But that man whose daughter was raped by those soldiers, virgin girl on the day of their Eid, the Muslim man, he has some honor. Who would want to have to tolerate that? Someone may feel, that girl may feel, I prefer to be dead before this happens to me. They're going to do that to you, a man's daughter. Some Muslim countries, when you're far, far away from civilization, they rob you. They stop the bus, transportation, the car, say, get out. And they rob you. Tell you, take your clothes off. Muslims will rob you in the far destitute places, far, far away. The man is there, he says, look, I want self-preservation. But before I see my wife with all her clothes on in front of you, you gotta kill me. In that case, the Nabi told the people, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَإِن كَانَ لَابُدْ فَلْيَقُلْ أَحَدُكُمْ اللهم احيني أحيني إذا كانت الحياة خيرا لي وتوفني إذا كانت الوفاة خيرا لي. If you have to hope for death, if you have to hope for it, if you have to, then you should say, oh Allah, cause me to live if living is better for me. Cause me to die if dying is better for me. But the person shouldn't want to die. It's against the fitrah. The fitrah, the natural disposition. Allah created everybody to say La ilaha illallah. Allah created everybody to love your mother. If a person isn't saying La ilaha illallah, something happened in his environment, his fitrah. كل مولود يولد على الفطرة. فَأَبَوَاهُ يُهَوِّدَانُهُ يُنَصِّرَانُ. Something happened. If he disrespects his mother, something happened. His fitrah was corrupted. Something happened. Also from the fitrah is to want to live. It's natural. No one's taught that. No one. Allah said about Iblis and Adam, فَوَسْوَسَ إِلَيْهِ الشَّيْطَانِ قَالَ يَا آدَمْ هَلْ أَدُلُّكَ عَلَى شَجَرَةِ الْخُلْدِ وَمُلْكٍ لَا يَبْلَى. So Shaitan whispered to Adam in the Jannah. He said, hey Adam, shall I not guide you to a tree that will give you eternal life and a kingdom that will last forever? So Adam wanted to live forever. He wanted to live. When he heard that waswas, he approached the tree. So everything that happened in that story where Adam covered up his nakedness is from the fitrah. Allah put that in the human being to live. To live. But there's one thing we want to mention. There is an authentic hadith that I want you to understand, especially the youngsters, because some of these people who are encouraging the youngsters to be radical and extreme, has no place in our religion. There's a hadith, Bukhari and Muslim, إذا أحب العبد لقاء الله أحب الله لقاءه. If the slave wants to meet Allah, Allah wants to meet the slave. Allah loves you. Whoever loves to meet Allah, Allah loves to meet you. Whoever doesn't want to meet Allah, he hates it, Allah hates to meet you. Aisha, our mother, when she heard that hadith, she said, Ya Rasulullah, we all hate death. What do you mean, we want to meet Allah? We don't want to die. He said, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. What the hadith means, because someone will hear that hadith and think that the hadith, if something happens to you, you just want to die. Or you don't like the dunya. I don't want to be in this dunya anymore. I want to die. To me, nah. As long as you are living and you're breathing, you have a chance. Once you are buried, that's it. Close the book. It's done. Unless you have some sadaqah jariyah, some child or something. Anyway, whoever loves to meet Allah, Allah loves to meet him. Whoever hates to meet Allah, Allah hates to meet him. What's the meaning of it? When the person dies, when he dies, Munkar and Nakir will come to him and sit him up, ask him those questions. If he passes the test, they will say, look over there. He'll look over there in his grave to the left. He said, that was your place in the hellfire, but Allah established you, gave you thabat. But this is your place in the paradise, because Allah gave you the tawfiq. He will make a dua, Allahumma aqim as-sa'a. Allahumma aqim as-sa'a. Oh Allah, establish the hour, because he wants to get there, he wants to meet Allah. So Allah wants to meet him. That's the meaning of the hadith, in the grave, not in the life. The other person will come, Munkar and Nakir, he won't answer correctly. Say, look over there, look over there. He'll see his place that would have been in the Jannah. Everybody has a place in the Jannah, everybody has a place in the hellfire. Whoever doesn't go to the hellfire will go to Jannah, and those seats will be vacant. So the kuffar who oppressed you, people who oppress you, will get your seat, and triple seats that are absent. And also from the virtues of Allah, whoever goes to Jannah, you'll get the seats that are empty there, depending on what you did. So that man, he'll see his place in the Jannah, what it would have been. And they said, but look over here, this is your place. You're going to be dead until Yawm al-Qiyamah in the barzakh, alive. Look at your place. Then they're going to make a dua. Oh Allah, don't establish the hour. Don't establish the hour. He doesn't want to meet Allah, and Allah doesn't want to meet him. So the point here is, no one, young person, woman, you have a problem, mental issues going on, as long as you are living, you have a chance. Next issue, Khwari, concerning the death. There are two types of death. Two types. One small one and one big one. The small death is what happens to us every night when we go to sleep. We die every single day, according to our religion. According to our religion. The Nabi said about sleep, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and known ahul maut. وَلَا يَمُوتُ أَهْلُ الْجَنَّةِ. Sleep is the brother of death. And the people of Jannah don't die, meaning they won't go to sleep. So every time you go to sleep, you are dying the small death. Allah mentioned in the Quran, Allahu alladhi, Allahu yatawaffa al-anfus hina mawtiha wallati lam tumut fi manamiha. Every night Allah causes the people to die. Allah is the one who calls the souls to die. And the ones who they don't die, ultimately, at night time He causes them to die. So you look at the dua of the Nabi when he wakes up in the morning. Alhamdulillah alladhi ahyana ba'dama amatana wa ilayhi nushur. All praise be to Allah who gave us life after we die. And to Him is the final nushur. Asbahna wa asbah al-mulk lillah. Allahumma bika nahya wa bika namut wa ilayka nushur. From his dua. Oh Allah, we woke up by you, we live by you, we die by you, and to you is the final resting place. Now this is important, ikhwani. Those kuffar of Quraysh, they believed in Allah. They believed in Allah, but they also believed that the idols would get them close to Allah. Prophet Muhammad's father, what was his name? Abdullah. Prophet Muhammad wasn't even created yet, and his grandfather called his son Abdullah. They believed in Allah, but they made shirk with Allah to get, they made Lad, Uzza, Manat, all of these guys to get intercession. They believe in Allah. وَلَئِنْ سَأَلْتُهُمْ مِنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَيَقُولُنَّ اللَّهُ. You ask them, who created the heavens and earth? They say, Allah did. They swear, verily Allah did. They believed in Allah, but they made shirk with Allah. They believed in the Malaika, but they believed that the Malaika were the daughters of Allah. They believed that Allah married the jinn, had relationships, and then came from that relationship the jinn, the Malaika. Allah married the jinn, and after He married the jinn with the nikah, the Malaika came from that. But they believed in the Malaika. One thing that they didn't believe in Yawmul Qiyamah. They could not get their heads around Yawmul. They didn't believe in that at all. They thought that was crazy. The man was sitting there, Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl, and the bone was in the sand being cooked and baked by the sun for a long time. And he was sitting there and he wanted to make istihza. He picked up the old bone and he started squeezing it and it started turning into dust. He said, Ya Muhammad, you mean to tell me when we die and we become rameen, like these bones, we're going to be brought back to life again? And Allah revealed the ayat, وَضَرَبَ لَنَا مَثَلًا وَنَسِيَ خَلْقًا قَالَ مَنْ يُحْيِي الْعِظَامَ وَهِيَ رَمِيمٌ قُلْ يُحْيِيهَا الَّذِي أَنْشَأَهَا أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ وَهُوَ بِكُلِّ خَلْقٍ عَلِيمٌ. He gave us a similitude and forgot about himself. He said, who's going to give life to these dusty bones? The bones when they become dust. Tell them the one who gave life to it the first time is going to bring life back from it. And He knows what He's doing. Those bones are something. That dust is something. Allah created you from nothing. If a person is dipped into nitroglycerin, into a barrel, nitroglycerin, and he disintegrated, he's going to be brought back Yawmul Qiyamah. He falls over the ocean, and the boat falls into the ocean, a shark comes and eats him whole, and then puts him out in the ocean. He's coming back Yawmul Qiyamah. And the first creation won't be difficult, and the second creation won't be difficult. But anyway, sleep being the small death was one of the dawah tools that the Nabi used to Kuffar of Quraysh, telling them, for 25 years you died every single day. For 25 years. You died every single day for 28 years. You died every single day for 43, 45 years. Every day you die. And Allah gives you life, because when you die, you don't know what's going on. That's the small death. The second death is the major one. And that's when you ultimately check out. So in the Islamic narrative, understand that. 2 deaths. The small one, that you die every day. So the Nabi told the people, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, كُنْ فِي الدُّنْيَا كَأَنَّكَ غَرِيبٌ or عَابِرُ السَّبِيلِ. Be in the dunya as if you are just a traveler, someone crossing the street. Abdullah bin Umar said, when you wake up in the morning, don't act like you're going to live to see the nighttime. When you go to sleep at night, don't act like you're going to live until the morning. Make peace between the people you have drama with, you have beef with. Make peace between the people you have drama with. One of the worst things that can happen is someone who you have a problem with and you keep saying, I'm going to, I'm going to, I'm going to. When Ramadan comes, I'm going to. When I get married, when I make Hajj, man, you better make peace right now. Small death, major death. Second issue, Ikhwani, is that we die 2 times and we live 2 times in the Islamic narrative. We're not Jews, Christians, Sikhs, Hindus, agnostics, atheists. I'm not talking about what they believe and what they do. As Muslims, we have to know, we have to believe, understand, we die 2 times and we live 2 times. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, كَيْفَ تَكْفُرُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَكُنْتُمْ أَمْوَاتٍ ثُمَّ يُمِيتُكُمْ ثُمَّ يُحْيِيكُمْ كَيْفَ تَكْفُرُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَكُنْتُمْ أَمْوَاتٍ ثُمَّ يُحْيِيكُمْ ثُمَّ يُمِيتُكُمْ ثُمَّ إِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. How is it, why is it you disbelieve in Allah when you were dead and then He gave you life and then He caused you to die again and then to Him is the return? So you were born twice, you lived twice, and you died twice. قالوا ربنا أمتنا 2 وأحييتنا 2 فاعترفنا بذنوبنا فهل إلى خروج من سبيل. The people of the hellfire will say, oh Lord, you caused us to die twice and you gave us life twice. Can we get out of this hellfire? So the ayah said you died twice and you lived twice. Scholars of Islam have ikhtilaf about this. Different scholars said different things. What appears to be the strongest position, and you choose your position as long as it has some proofs, is in al-Islam, when you are in nothingness, before you were created, we were dead. Before we were created, listen, everything is by the qadr. You sitting here right there, him sitting right there, this is already written. As Allah said, يَمْحُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيُثْبِتُ وَعِنْدَهُ أُمُّ الْكِتَابِ. Allah wipes away what He wants to wipe away, establishes what He wants to establish, and with Him is the Kitab, the Lawh and Mahfuz. How much money you going to get, how much this going, everything is written. When Allah created Adam's children, He took them out of the loins and He spread them out. Allah threw out a light. Some of the light hit some people and it missed others. They stayed in darkness. The Nabi said the ones who the light hit them, they get Hidayah, they go to Jannah. The ones who the light missed them, they go into the hellfire. We ask Allah that light hit us. We ask Allah that light hits us. So the point is, we were living before this. How many of you have been to Hajj? How many of you have not been to Hajj? Wow, I don't know. Some people didn't put their hand up. Which one of you? How many went to Hajj? Put your hand up. How many didn't go to Hajj? That's our king. Oh Allah, let them go to Hajj this year. Oh Allah, help them to go to Hajj this year. You've been to Hajj. You've been to Arafah. There's an ayat in the Quran where إِذْ أَخَذَ رَبُّكَ مِنْ بَنِي آدَمٍ مِنْ ظُهُورِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ وَأَشْهَدَهُمْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ أَلَسْتُ بِرَبِّكُمْ قَالُوا بَلَى شَهِدْنَا أَن تَقُولُوا يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ إِنَّا كُنَّا عَنْ هَذَا غَافِلِينَ. And remember when your Lord took from the loins of Adam all of his children and He spread them out at Mount Arafat. And He said to all of them, am I not your Lord? They all said, yes, we bear witness to La ilaha illallah. So that you won't come Yawm al-Qiyamah and say, I didn't have no knowledge about this. And then Allah put them back in His loins. So they were living already. That's the first life. And that's the first death. They're nothing. And then their mothers give birth to them. And then they die. And then they're given life again. So in the Islamic narrative, if you asked, how many times did I live? How many times did I die? 2 deaths and 2 lives. What's the 2 deaths? The nothingness that we had before, because we bore witness to La ilaha illallah. And that's why some of the scholars said, no one will have an excuse with Allah about the Tawheed. Because Allah took the covenant from everybody and everybody bore witness to La ilaha illallah. Lastly, from what we want to mention today, Ikhwani, inshallah, is one of the things about death that's consistent in the Quran is it will come and it will take a person unawares. It will come and it will take a person unawares. He doesn't know when death is going to come. No one knows. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Doing something mundane and easy like eating and swallowing the wrong way, the chicken bone went down your throat and you're dead. Just like that. So those ayat, ittabi'u ahsana ma unzila ilaykum ittabi'u ahsana ma unzila ilaykum min rabbikum min qabli an ya'tiyakum al-'adhabu baghtatan wa antum la tash'urun. Follow the best of what has been revealed to you from your Lord before death comes to one of you and it takes you and you're not even aware. It suddenly comes. But it just came and you weren't ready. وَمَا تَدْرِ نَفْسٌ بِأَيِّ أَرْضٍ تَمُوتُ. No person knows what land he's going to die in. Some of us are away from where we come from, where our homes are. We may die here and never get back there. Your parents come to visit us here and they die here. All kind of issues. So what's the point of that? The point of that is, Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, when he heard the hadith, it's not befitting for a man to go 3 days without having his will written down. He said, once I heard that from the Nabi, I wrote my will down. I let my family know who owe me money and who I owe money to. Because you don't know. And when people die and their affairs are in disarray, the fact that he died makes it more complicated. We see it every day. It's more complicated. Also, the issue of making peace with the people. Making peace. When I told you, one of the worst feelings is someone dying, your mother, your father, your sister, your uncle, your Muslim brother, someone who dies, and you have some static with them, and then they die. And then you say, wow, it was simple. All I had to do was say, I'm sorry, even if it was his fault. I forgive you. But now that chance is gone, squandered opportunity. And it's a terrible feeling to have, that the Muslim didn't take advantage of it. And then we can't forget as well the issue of At-Thahabi. We can't wait until we're 40 years old. Some cultures, some people who teach us, they say, I'm going to pray when I make Hajj. I'm going to pray when I reach the age of 40. I'm going to put hijab on when I get married. Who told you you're going to get married? Who told you you're going to make Hajj? Who told you that you're going to get this, you're going to get that? So those are some of the many issues that we wanted to mention here as a reminder. That's all, just a reminder. And there are many other issues that can be mentioned. Maybe during the Q&A session, some of these issues will come out. And if you guys don't have any questions, I have 2 or 3 questions that I want to ask you, just to see if you were listening, inshallah.
Where's all your status now? Death has come to